I'm Lori back with Launch Point Leader, and we are so excited to bring you another episode of our podcast where we're going out into the community and just getting to learn from our business owners and hear great stories from leaders in our community. So today we're so excited to be here with Danielle from Shelli's, and we can't wait to hear more from her. So Danielle, why don't you share more about Shelli's and what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So Shelli's, we're in here.
Yeah.
We are a family-friendly coffee shop, and we really focus on authentic connection, and we really want a place for people to come, have fun. We have over 100 board games. We have events, community space. It's just a place where the whole family can have fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's such a fun atmosphere, cozy as soon as you walk in. The first time I came, I was like, oh my gosh, all these games. It's just so welcoming and inviting. And tell us more about, I think one of the first things you see when you walk in is the hot air balloon. So talk about where that came from, where the name came from. Share some of that.
So Shelli's is named after my mom, Shelli. She passed of breast cancer in 2006, and she always wanted to open a coffee shop. So we wanted to name it after her just to honor her. Yeah. And then the hot air balloon is also in honor of her. So she was a hot air balloon pilot before I was born.
So cool.
So her mom owned the balloon, and they were both pilots, and they would go on like races and do events, and she would do hot air balloon merch and all of that. And she had a merch shop called Sky Sailors. So that also goes in line with our membership program called Sky Sailors.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, what a cool way to honor your mother, her legacy, and what a cool life she lived that now just gets to live on here in Murfreesboro through your imagery, through your program. Like, you've just weaved her into this, and I think what a cool thing to be proud of. I really appreciate you sharing that story. I know it's a really impactful meaning behind the business.
Totally.
So, as you grew up and were thinking about what you wanted for your life, did you always know you wanted to be a business owner, or how did Shelli's come to be?
Absolutely, no. That was not on my radar at all. I actually came to Nashville for ministry school, so I thought that I was going to be in church ministry. My husband's parents were missionaries overseas, so I thought, we're both going to be on church staff, and that's kind of what we're going to do. But about 5 or 6 years ago, God really got a hold of us, and He started putting on our hearts business as mission. So creating a business and being on mission with Him through that business. And we had just thought about different ideas. The coffee shop idea came from us when we were dating. We both worked at Starbucks.
Yeah.
So we both worked in coffee, and that was one of the things that as we were getting married, it was like, that would be really cool to open a coffee shop one day. So 12 years later, here we are.
Wow. So it's so cool, sometimes you think you have such a clear picture for your life, and that you kind of pivoted into, you said, it's like God kind of showed you, like, there is a way to have a successful journey in business and also be able to care for your mission. You're still getting to serve the community and really be a light for them. So I think it's cool you were able to, like, take all of those dreams, from where you guys met, your background, merge that with your ministry background, and be able to open such a cool place to do this in the community.
And just really, like, ministering outside of the four walls of the church. There's a lot of people that wouldn't step foot on a church on Sunday, but they would come into a coffee shop on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. So to be able to have that community feel here in the space that maybe doesn't have the church name on it.
Sure. It's such a unique way, and I think it's really appreciated and felt. Even if people don't know what makes that difference, I think you guys know what's motivating that difference for you that you want to host for people. So I think it's really cool. So you've been open for getting close to a year now, right? Since you've been in this space?
Well, about just over 6 months,
actually.
Yeah,
so 6
we're
months,
fresh.
Right, so you're fresh in it. It's new. It's exciting.
Yes.
What do you think has been an unexpected challenge, maybe over the last year of getting ready to open and opening that you didn't anticipate?
I would say from getting ready to open, we had thought about the idea and the name and all of that last year, and so we spent all last year looking for a location. Could not find anything in our budget, really, especially in this market right now. And so that was, I think, super challenging of getting the picture that, hey, we're going to do this, and then not being able to actually start.
Execute,
but we did have a creative way. So last fall, we actually started doing pop-up socials. So instead of having a building, we used a coffee shop, a local coffee shop, and we brought our 100 board games there and just did a pop-up social. And we're like, okay, proof of concept. Let's see if people really want this. So I think the challenge was how long it took. And then once we got in the space, it was a lot more money than you expect.
Sure, yeah.
Always.
Yeah, I think that's a good piece of advice for people that are looking into it. You know, you said the other day,
Yes.
one advice you always want to give is be anticipated for it to take longer and to have that money built up.
It's going to be more.
Yeah, you've
more
got to be
and
ready
take
for that
longer.
investment.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad you touched on the board games a little bit because,
yes.
you know, we've mentioned that, but I think it's just a cool, unique thing here in town. There's nothing really like it.
Yeah.
So you guys use board games. I really want to create an atmosphere just of fun for people to come and build community.
Totally.
And I think at Launch Point Leader, we always want to focus on having fun, not only with your team and at work, but at home as well. So maybe do you have a fun story or a really cool way that since you have opened, or maybe at one of your pop-ups, that you've just seen really games bring people together and build that community?
I feel like with games, again, that authentic connection. The connection that you can have over a game compared to everyone being on their phone or everybody watching a screen is so much different. And so what games bring people together, whether they're young, whether they're old, you know, whatever social class they're in or whatever background they have, you can all come together in a game. And we have games that range from fun party games that anyone can play. I love when people go to the classics, so they're going to go to Life, they're going to go to Sorry. Even like couples will come for a date night and like play one of their childhood games together. I'm like, that's so cool, you know. Or having families play that are, you know, the youngest is 5 and the oldest is, you know, the grandparents are there and just bringing everyone together.
Connect.
Yes, absolutely. So I do feel like board games bring people together, and then even with our staff, like every team meeting we go over a new game and play games. That's like part of...
Really?
Yes.
That's so cool.
So instead of just learning about the coffee and how to make a good quality cup of coffee, we say, hey, go play a board game. Find out, you know, what you like. So when people come in, you can suggest
give that
something.
advice. Yeah.
As well.
And a good way for them to get to know each other.
Exactly.
Yeah,
yes.
That's so cool. I know I always like to go. It's just a great way to be with friends, be with coworkers, like just having that moment of fun and connection that then you can take into whatever you're going into next. Like that relationship is kind of foundation is set, and now you're getting to expand it. And I think it's so right. It's such a good way to make you disconnect from technology, which can suck in so much of our lives. And you touched on your team and team meetings, and I think it's a cool dynamic you have there. So getting your restaurant ready to open, how did you find the right people? How did you build that culture you wanted? How did you get the right team for that?
We knew that culture was going to be a big deal,
Yeah.
Something that we really wanted to create early on and find the right people that could fit into that culture. Chick-fil-A was a huge proponent of that, of like, okay, how does Chick-fil-A do their team? How does their culture? Any Chick-fil-A you walk into, you know what the culture is going to be like. It's very evident. And so that's similar of what we wanted. Extreme hospitality is a really big thing for us as well. We call everyone that walks in the door as a guest instead of like a customer or a client. They're our guests, like they're stepping into our home. So finding those team members was really important to us. I will say part of the process is that we do 3 interviews, which is different for this kind of a business, especially like a barista entry-level position. A lot of businesses would be like, you're breathing? Okay, you can work here. But we really want to make sure that they fit in with the culture as well. And we actually do board games in the interview.
Really?
In one of the interviews,
That's
we
amazing.
have board games.
Yeah.
I'm like, why not? And they're like, this is the coolest interview ever.
Right.
I'm like,
Kinda
you'll probably
relaxed.
never have another interview like this.
No.
But I do feel like it brings us all together, and then it attracts the right people that want to work here as well.
What a great way to see if they're a good fit for a board game cafe, coffee shop, right? That's amazing. And I think it's really important. You know, talent can be difficult to come by. Finding the right people, I think, is very important. So it's such a cool, and having the multiple step process, getting to participate in what they're going to be part of, right?
Yeah.
Is a really cool way to do that. And so as you're just thinking about your time as a business owner, as you went on the journey from looking at a career in ministry to jumping over to business, maybe what's some advice you have to someone who is in a similar situation or is looking to become an entrepreneur one day? What do you think is a good piece of advice for them?
Yeah, I would say if you believe in Jesus, trust God, because He knows way better than you would. I think for me, it was like taking that leap of faith, but also realizing along the way what are the talents and the gifts that He's already given you, and how is He going to use that in this next season. So like with my husband and I, we both own this. We both have very different talents and skills and all of that, and so to be able to press into that and to focus on our strengths and be able to lift the other person up, I think that has been super helpful in opening this business.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think that's a good trusting yourself a little bit, right,
Yes.
is what I hear in that.
Yeah.
And trusting, if you're a believer, God's plan that he
Yes.
has for you, and being able to manifest what you're already good at. That's a great way to figure out your career path. Because when you're young, even I feel it sometimes still, like, what am I going to do when I grow up? Even though I'm grown up, technically, right? So
Yes.
trusting yourself, looking at your gifts you already have, what brings you joy.
I never realized that one of my gifts was hospitality.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I didn't even realize that that was even a gift. But like, we started doing game nights at our house once a month, and it ended up being 4 years later that we have the same group of people coming over for game nights, and they're bringing friends and all of that. And so part of even Shelli's was this expansion of, I love hosting people. I love bringing people together of all different kinds of backgrounds and having fun together.
Yeah,
and so
absolutely.
like, even the gift of hospitality, it's like, oh, coffee, that's perfect.
Right. Nothing brings people together quite like a cup of coffee, or
Yeah.
just that atmosphere in a coffee shop. I feel is different than even other food service restaurant type
Yes.
places. So I definitely can agree that hospitality is really special. And so, of course, we're here in Murfreesboro, right? And
Yes.
the series is really highlighting the business owners in Murfreesboro and just learning about the community. So what do you think, as you looked at opening your business, what made you decide Murfreesboro is a good fit for you?
We really felt that Murfreesboro, we moved here in 2020
Yeah.
when
Wow. Interesting
COVID
time.
hit.
Yeah.
But we got a really good price on our house.
Sure.
But we realized that there really wasn't anything quite like what we have or
Absolutely.
what we were thinking of creating. There's only maybe like one other third wave coffee here that has really good coffee. And then a lot of chains, like there was a lot of, chain coffee shops and stuff like that. And so we really wanted to create a space for the community, and just the fact that Murfreesboro is very family focused.
Absolutely.
We really love that for our young family. And this is what Shelli's wants to be, is a place for families to come and to have community together. So
That's awesome. Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah.
I definitely agree. The atmosphere and the family spirit can definitely be felt, not only from just actual true families, but even business to business. I hear so many good stories just from doing these interviews of ways business support others, like how you hosted your pop-ups in
Yes.
town. I think is such a good way of the community showing up to support you early on. And so it's
Absolutely.
always great to hear why people chose Murfreesboro and what it makes this the right fit for them. And so, as we get ready to part, I would always just love to hear, like, what's next for you? What's next for Shelli's, in the next few years? What do you think is a goal you guys have?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, our next goal is to open another location. I will say that our big vision is a lot bigger than our 1,200 square foot space here. It includes a lot more board games, a bigger kids area. We'd love to have an outdoor area with outdoor games and outdoor movies and that kind of a thing. Just a really good place for the community to come together. So hopefully we'll have another location in Murfreesboro, maybe the other side of town.
Sure.
In the next couple years, and then we'll see from there.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. Before we go, I do want to let you give the opportunity to tell everybody where you guys are located, where they can find you, things like that.
Yes, so we are off of Northfield and Memorial in the 12 Stone Shopping Center. We're open Monday through Thursday, 7 to 5, and then on Fridays and Saturdays, 7 to 10 p.m. So it's a great place to come, bring friends. Come join us at Shelli's for board games and coffee.